Hi, Tom McLaughlin here, back with a few more activities from my ebook, 100 Ways to Love Yourself and Why It Matters to All of Us. As you can see, we are in the kitchen today for Self-Love Act number 11. Bake a batch of chocolate chip cookies, then eat and share. Now, first thing, I have to get rid of this hat. Next, I want to tell you that if chocolate chip cookies aren't your thing, if you'd rather do peanut butter or snickerdoodles or whatever, enjoy that. Do what you love. That's what this is about. It's about loving yourself, caring for yourself, showering yourself with what you enjoy. I remember Mom teaching me how to bake in the kitchen, and what a gift that was. It's something that I'm using many years later. I won't tell you how many. I actually have the recipe memorized. Now, that's love of chocolate chip cookies. I often refer to myself as a connoisseur of chocolate chip cookies, and I think that's kind of a fancy way of saying I'm a chocoholic. And I embrace my love of chocolate and the cookies. So in a few minutes, the dough here will be ready to put on a pan and throw into the oven, and that's going to be great. I love the smell that fills the house when these chocolate chip cookies are baking, and then of course to bite into one that's fresh out of the oven, that chocolate just dripping off. Fantastic. But probably 3/4 of this dough I will eat raw. I know people say it's bad for you, raw eggs and so on. I love it. So that's what's going to happen to the majority of these cookies that stay in the house. I've enjoyed baking and eating chocolate chip cookies since I was a kid, for as long as I can remember. And it leads me to consider what is so important about self-love. And one of the things that occurs to me is showering myself with love is fun. I think this life is in large measure supposed to be about savoring it, about having fun, about experiencing as much as possible. So now it's time to take that portion of the dough that will not be eaten raw and put it into the oven to create the crispy, chocolate melting cookies, whose aroma will fill this kitchen momentarily. Let's take a look at Self-Love Act number 86. It's a journal question, and there are numerous journal questions spread throughout the ebook. This one is, if you had only 15 minutes to gather together your most prized possessions, and you could only take with you what you could carry in one load in your car, what would you take? This question became a reality for me in about 1985 when I was at K.I. Sawyer Air Force Base on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. A forest fire threatened the base, and I heard that it was approaching my quarters. So I hopped into my car, drove to my place, and gathered together in about 15 minutes all that I could carry. What I picked, of course, didn't really surprise me, but it was my journals. It was my love letters, my photo albums, yearbooks. It was the most prized books and music from my childhood and young adulthood. It was the totem poles that I had gathered as a boy on a trip to Alaska with my family. These were the things that I found most important. I had a brand new TV, a brand new stereo that I'd bought with my money as a new Air Force officer, but those things I didn't have much problem leaving behind. One of the things that self-love does when we attend to who we really are and pay attention to us is that we discover what our values are. That's so important because that's where we'll spend our time and energy if we're wise and loving. Time for Self-Love Act number 11A, B, C through Z. More taste testing. So I've just discovered that I accidentally turned off the oven and the heat went down. So I had to restart it. But you know, that's perfect. Life is that way. Loving ourselves is never going to be perfectly smooth and work out just the way we planned. Part of loving ourselves is allowing things to happen as they will, taking them as they come, and doing our best with them. Rolling as best we can, having fun, laughing when possible, crying when we must, and just letting things be what they are, embracing them, accepting them.